onto this computer. Hello, everybody, and welcome to yet another edition of For Those Who Believe. And this podcast is about connecting all of our sons and daughters of the Casa from all over the world. It's incredible how many countries that are connected with the Casa. And today, I'm so excited to have my beautiful friend who I miss because I haven't seen her for a couple of years. We were just talking
Yeah.
there, who's in Iowa in the United States. So we're spread out all over the world. Liz Grayson. And
Oh.
the beautiful story about you, Liz, is that you came after the medium was taken out of the casa. And we
Mhm.
are very grateful to Medium Joao for bringing us together because we would not be in discussion about all things casa had it not been for the medium. So kudos to Joao de Dias for bringing us all together. And it's an incredible high energy now. Very hard to explain how it has grown so much since 2018 when the scandal or whatever we want to call it broke out. So I want you to just nice and relaxed because these podcasts are so different for all of us. Like you come from a completely different background, and we all have something to add to this highest of vibration. So tell us how you heard about the Casa and when you came to the Casa first, please.
So this would have been back in 2017. I heard about him. Something had came across my Facebook feed for when he was coming to Omega in October. And I had been suffering from a catastrophic back injury that just kind of compounded over time by riding horses. And I was getting to the point where, okay, do I need to have a surgery? How is this going to affect my career? Like, what am I going to do? And he was only like 3 hours away. So I was like, all right, why not? I can get it. I'll just go and, see. And I was pretty, skeptical. And,
Oh,
but as soon as I got there and I sat down, and, I was just, we were waiting for the medium to come out. There weren't very many people there. I could suddenly feel this energy. I'll never forget that moment. And they had flyers, or not flyers, but big posters of some of the entities all around, like Dr. Augusto. And I remember sitting there and just kind of looking at all of those and all of a sudden just feeling this energy, like this huge, like, energy. And it's something you can only really tangibly feel, you know, when you're there. And I don't know how to describe it, but just like
yeah.
you're just completely uplifted, and it's just love. I don't know how else to describe it. And you know so he comes out and he gives his talk, and then we have to go through the lines. Everybody in the morning got a blessing, and then everybody in the afternoon got an operation. And I remember sitting in the blessing line, and he was walking up and down and saying prayers or whatever. And all of a sudden I just felt this little spark in my heart. And I was like a little firework. And I was like, okay, so something's definitely happening here. And later on, we're sitting in the afternoon all around the campus there. And I just remember sitting and reflecting and meditating and thinking about everything. And just that energy just kept getting stronger and stronger. And it was like, of course, God forbid I have a day off. Employees were texting me about stuff. And I was like, oh my God, like ready to just throw my phone across the lawn and like leave me alone. But I just kept getting redirected. It was like, no, come back, come back. And it was just like, you couldn't get pulled away from that energy at that point. And it was just like, oh, geez, thank God, I need this, I need a break or whatever. And in the afternoon I had the operation. You're allowed to ask for, I think, like 9 things simultaneously that they could work on, and obviously my back was one of them. And from there, I had to drive home that night because I had to go back to work. So I mean, I was doing everything you weren't supposed to do, following protocol, like going back to work, being around people. But I mean, I didn't really know that at the time either because of kind of the language barrier and things like that. And um, it's things started working. I mean, I was doing all of the things that you're absolutely not supposed to do that was getting me injured, like lifting heavy things. It was still painful. It was, it was, yeah, I'm not getting physical
Yeah.
therapy. All I did was the people that I had reached out to that were some of the main guides there. I think it was like Bob and Diana Rose.
Yeah,
Um,
that's right.
I had, yeah, I
Lovely.
had reached out to them and I had asked for some triangles and things, and they had sent it to me. And um, little by little, it was really strange. Like I went back to the doctor, I guess, then in December, and they were going to do an MRI, and this was going to be the one that was going to decide surgery or not. And it had gotten better. Like
Mm.
it got like the MRI showed a change in the positive, but I wasn't doing anything that could have made it better. Like all I was doing was drinking the water because they had the blessed water, and I was, praying, trying to connect with the entities, and like that just it doesn't happen. I mean, I had neuropathy, it was nerve damage, it was painful every day, and I think some of it too was the crushing situation that I was in with work and the vibration of the people that I was also around and whatever, but yeah, I mean, it was getting to the point where, surgery might work for you, it might not. And I ended up not needing it. And then I got a better job. I had left and I had money and I was able to work and ride and provide for myself pain free things that I was told I was never going to be able to do. Like,
Wow.
you can't ride horses anymore. Like you're risking yourself being paralyzed. Like you can't, it,
Oh, that's
it was just
amazing.
completely like life altering. And then from there, I was like, I have to get it to Casa. I have to get it to Casa. I have to go to Brazil. I have to go to Brazil. Like, help me get to Brazil.
Yeah, all roads lead to Brazil.
Yes. And so, I didn't get back there until, what was it? 2019. And oddly enough, this is how we met because the lady that I had connected with in Florida that has the most amazing crystal beds, Michelle Denise, she wasn't able to go when I was able to go. And this
Yeah,
was, wait, no. When did this? Oh, yeah, 2019.
it's just
And
hasn't.
yeah, I think that's when that was. Or maybe it was,
Yeah,
yeah,
we still had the cafe open, and you came with
that's
Dean.
right.
Remember your dog, your beautiful dog.
Yeah, I came down and you would help me for 2 weeks. And then it was like, that's it.
Mm,
I'm leaving America. Like, I want to go down. This is where I want to be. I need to be around this. I need to, and just get my life straight because it was like I didn't know what I wanted to do with my life, with horses and things like that. Just because it was very all encompassing and, hard, physically and mentally draining. And so I want to
mm,
say I went down there the first time in June or July, and then by September, I had quit my job, brought my dog down there, and I was there for a
mm.
good 3 months. And it was just a phenomenal experience, from when I had first been there from 2017, and then I set foot on the Casa grounds on 2019. It As soon as you walked through those gates, for me anyways, it was just like overwhelming and like the most powerful energetic experience I have ever felt. It was like being welcome home.
Yeah,
you
a
know,
meltdown. I had a meltdown. I just burst out crying, and I always hid. I never wanted anybody to see me crying, but I just
I know.
broke. I just became a mess.
Yeah, it was just, I
It was
mean, this is,
cleansing, really
know,
cleansing. I knew there was something going on when I was brought to my knees. And then when I turned the corner and saw the triangle, I just started crying again. And my sister, who I was pushing in the wheelchair, was like, are you in pain or something that you're crying? And I said, no, I just feel so much at home here. I feel
yeah, yeah.
I've been brought
I
home.
mean, Brazil, still is my home, and that is my goal to, be able to get back there and stay there. And
Yeah.
yeah, that's just where I want to be. And then, it's just been one, Ups and downs, obviously, but I've never felt unsupported. Um, and there's been so many blessings and things that I've experienced because I really don't have like an earthly, well, my biological family, like I haven't ever really had that, and I just feel like the entities in the casa have kind of adopted me. And I had asked to be shown, what is a healthy mother figure, what is a healthy father figure, what does this look like, what is unconditional love, what is, I mean, I've seen and experienced all of like the negative or the things that I don't want, like, but I don't know what is a healthy unconditional like relationship. And then I meet you, and I mean, Alausa is very much a mother figure to me, and she's such a wonderful human being. You're blessed to know her.
She is my
Yeah,
life in Brazil. Without her, I could not have run the cafe. I could not have lived. She's
yeah,
amazing. She's still there. She's still amazing. She does everything out of pure love, and that's very
yes,
wonderful.
yeah,
You,
yeah. And just all the connections and people that I've made through being there and going there all over the world, you guys are all like family. I mean, I'd do anything, for
you
any
are
one of
my
you.
family, our family. And then Melinda, who
Yes.
unselfishly gave her life to orientating and doing the stories, the miracle stories. And then
Mhm.
Barbara Naraka, who is an absolute rock star. And
Yes.
all of these people love you. And we are your extended family. We are your family because you did have a hard time. I remember you going through so much in Abadiania, and it was so painful for you. So we were there to support you because we love you, and that's what Abidjan is about. You
Yeah.
do it organically for no agenda. It's not
Yeah.
like I
Yeah.
never, I never, I guided people, but not just gave them lectures or whatever and fun talks. But I wasn't, for financial gain or whatever. It was because I
No.
want everybody to have the Casa experience when the medium was there, when he wasn't there. And the cafe was an extension of that. And the cafe was the fun part of it because I was
Hmm.
always jumping around in my angel gear and my aprons. And that was joy, that was healing. And it was for healing for
Yes.
me too, because that is inside of me and it brings such joy to me too. So there was a lot of dimensions in the casa, but it was the people who really lifted us up in times of great need. Our
Mhm.
casa family, and a lot of them are still there. Many have left, and some of them are coming back in dribs and drabs. But I remember you being supported, particularly when your mom was sick, and
Yeah.
we were all there for you because we love you, not because
Mhm.
we were just directed to help you.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it was, this is another miracle in itself because, I was asking the entities to help me, with working through some family dynamics and whatever that may look like. And I mean, I never would have thought that I would have been there at the end of my mother's life to help her and support her and make amends. I mean, my brother wasn't at all, didn't talk to her. Um, so I
Mm.
remember, she said that she wasn't feeling well, and I was like, I went down to visit her, and I was like, what is going on? Like, do you want me to call an ambulance? Like, you need to go and see a doctor. Like, whatever this is not okay. And so we end up in the emergency room, and they're doing all of these tests and scans and things like that. And um, I remember getting the news that there was some type of a growth. They didn't really know what it is, but they had to do immediate surgery and it had to be removed. And I remember that I immediately had like texted you to see if you could pester the entities, put a note in, anything like that, And I was literally outside of the room doing this with you, and she was in the like doctor's suite or whatever you want to call it. And I didn't know if it was okay for me to, I was going to try to channel the current and do what I could do. And I had asked her if she needed, I said, do you want, my friends and I to pray for you? Do you want some help, like healing energy? And she was like, oh no, the man with the glove already came and it came off smelling like roses. And I was like, what are you talking about? Like, there was nobody went in and out of that room. And I was like, oh my God, Grania, Padre Pio. Like, oh my God.
He's my to go to guy. I mean,
Yeah.
I pictures of him
And
everywhere. He's
yeah,
Padre Pio. And your mother
yeah.
didn't know who Padre Pio was. I mean,
No. Oh God,
literally,
no. No idea. No
I
idea.
mean, how would she?
Yeah.
He's amazing.
She's
He's following
she's
us
not
around.
I mean, she's not religious like at all. Like, okay, you've got Jesus and Mary and Joseph, and that's about all she knows.
Yeah, I mean, and there's so many other ones as well. I had a
Yeah.
beautiful picture of Pio earlier in my hands because I had yeah, I don't have it here, but I, he's amazing. I just got a message from somebody who's using a Pio statue for the last 8 years, and she's getting really upset because part of his face is starting to crumble, and
Mhm.
she's wondering what the story was. And she sent me a message last night, and I said, when Padre Pio was exhumed after 50 years of being interred under the ground, when they lifted his body out, 98% of his body was incorrupt, and this side of his face, where her statue is, was just slightly starting to deteriorate.
Oh
But
my
the rest of
God.
his body, so the statue actually is showing her the deteriorate. She sent me a picture of it, and I'm like, yeah, that's
Wow.
exactly. So they just manufactured a little. I went there and I saw it. You can't even notice the difference. But I
Hmm.
said that when he was buried, she couldn't believe it. She said, "I'm really upset he's falling apart." And I said, "Well, it's obviously helping you." And
Hmm.
you need to understand that this is a lesson, that that's a side of his face that was actually, I don't know why it was not incorrupt, but the rest of his body was completely intact, like when they put him under the ground. But all the stigmatas were gone when he died. So she
Mm.
is just blown out of the water that this is happening to her statue. And I said, let it
I
go.
bet.
He's doing something with you. He's
Yeah.
helping. But
Yeah.
he helped your mother and all the entities. I mean, as you said,
Good.
when you went to the Omega, you see them all on the wall. You don't know who they are. They're spirit doctors. There's a lot of saints because Brazil was a very high Catholic country. It's getting
Mhm.
less now. Medium Joao is Catholic, and there are a lot of other. There's Buddha and Muhammad. They're all working through the Casa energy. I mean, God has no religion, but because of the saints and the spirit doctors. Some of them were Brazilians and some of them were
Mhm.
Catholic, like Basiri de Menezes, who's the doctor of
Yeah.
the poor. He comes with the smell of ether. I think we talked about this
Yeah.
gas. Because when I was working in the infirmary, I was saying, "Oh my God, somebody has to turn off the gas. There's going to be an explosion." And everybody looked at me and went, "That's Basiri de Menezes." And I went, "You are kidding me. He comes with a smell. It's like scratch and sniff, you know." And they said, "Yeah, when you smell the ether, like the gas, it's him working." And I'm like, really? So we learned
Hmm.
these, like the roses, the smell of sanctity, and
Hmm.
he's with us. And they're always, as Dr. Augusto is like, bang, bang, bang. I mean, he did liver transplants and everything. I mean, a lot of
Yeah.
people can't get their head around that. So I only speak about it when I know that somebody's ready to hear it. I mean, I can't be
Right.
going around telling people here in Cavan, in Ireland, about my experience at the Casa because they were absolutely otherworldly and miraculous and way out of left
Yes.
field. I mean, 22
Hmm.
years in Brazil was like every day there was some big wow, like,
Yeah.
oh my God, I had to rub my eyes a lot. Um,
Hmm.
and then when you came as well, it was a pleasure to be able to guide you a little bit, but you already were very tuned into a spiritual path when you came.
Hmm.
You were ready when you came.
Yeah.
But your experiences there were amazing. And I mean, even with Dean, your dog,
Yeah.
he
They
got
healed
on
his
great there.
cataracts.
It's an
Yeah.
entity.
Yeah.
Rottweiler, he's just beautiful. And um,
Yeah.
but
He was
you
perfect.
you had challenges there too. It's not an easy journey. I mean, you just don't go and it's all love and light and flowers
Oh,
and roses. We're put through baptisms of fire,
oh
which we have
yes.
to go through. And
Yeah.
you have been particularly challenged as well in your work, working with horses. And I know that the entities helped you, and we had many discussions about this and helped you with your mother when she passed. But you were so open to receiving and learning, and you
Yeah.
got
There's some.
uh, miracles as well. If you want to, if you remember any of them, or you want to talk about them, do so,
Oh
please.
yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, going back to my mom still, I mean, they did work on her and help her as the to the extent that she would allow because they had, done the CT scan and they did surgery. She ended up having her gallbladder had ruptured. And I mean, she was hours away from death. Like if we would have went to Iowa City, she would have died um, in transport. But over the course of her fighting what we knew then was metastatic cancer, um, she had different scans and things like that. I remember praying to the NTDs and asking for help down there, and because they had found a growth, and then they had rescanned again, and then it was like gone, and I was like, but not all of it was gone, but the part they were concerned about was gone, and then it came back. I mean, it was just her time. That's what she chose,
Yeah,
but it was just they would help as much as she would allow, and it was amazing. Going back to when this is kind of a weird switch, but my brain kind of goes all over the place a little bit. But going back to when I brought Dean, my big Rottweiler, down to Brazil, um, I was so blessed. I'm so thankful. He got to sit in the Casa grounds. He got his own healing. He got to walk to the trails and things like that with me. And I was asking, for help to heal his cataracts. And one day I kind of looked at his eyes and there wasn't really any gray gloss to it anymore. And I was like, hey, and he was just tracking me like right there.
yeah.
And when I brought him back to the vet for something else, when I was in the USA, his cataracts are gone. They noted it and they were like, what? And I was like,
Did you do?
yeah. I just did, yeah, I didn't even know what to say. I was like, oh, maybe you guys are wrong. Like, whatever. Like, just didn't want to get into that.
Engage.
But I mean, they've helped, it, it, I just want to say if you're on the fence or on the edge of going or have one way of thinking how this is going to happen or feel only through the physical presence of a medium or not, I was allowed to go and to have my own experience, and the energy goes directly to you. And I was able to feel what the different higher energies feel like in the presence of different entities and feel that and experience it for myself because so much doctrine, when I was growing up, my parents and I'm sure vast majority of others have used, religion as, like punishment, like, Jesus is going to come and get you, like, so whatever.
Going to hell in a handbasket for sure.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
we're
And
all
so
going to hell.
so it was like you were
Demons.
able to feel that high vibration and that truth for yourself. And I had asked for help for things, healing things in my childhood. Um, I don't know how I made it out alive, but I'm here.
You
So I
did. You
mean,
came through so
I
much.
mean, literally everything that could have been done to a child, aside from being murdered, well, there was an attempt, did happen.
That,
Um, but I just couldn't carry it around with me anymore. And I was just praying and praying. I was like, God, just please help me take this from me. Like, I don't need this anymore. I don't want to see the world through this lens. I don't want to experience more of this. And I said, I have to feel it go. I have to feel it go. Like, I have to know, I have to. And I went down to the waterfall one day and I was walking up to the waterfall and it kept getting like white, like whiter and whiter and brighter and brighter and brighter and brighter. And I was like, great, like what's going on with my vision now? And I get into the waterfall and it was just it was so bright you couldn't even see. And when I got out of that, oh my God, I mean, thank God I had a taxi that day. Like it was the one of the most powerful and profound experiences I have ever had. Um, just and I just broke down and it was gone. Um, I still remember those things and those things did happen,
Yeah.
but um
Miracles, just
yeah,
miracles.
it's not part of my life, I guess you want to say anymore, or directing it. But you have those different experiences and things like that, and there's just no way to deny it. Um,
Yeah.
you just can't. And if you ask to uh, feel their presence, feel the work being done, and you ask for help, you will get it to the extent that you will allow it, and they will help you no matter, as much as they can, when and where they can. And I've had various, spontaneous interventions back here in the USA because I've just said, given them like full run
Yeah.
to do whatever.
Permission.
Yeah, I was just like, let's
So,
do this. And, I want to be there. I want to be, work through me, use me, do whatever you can. And, it's, yeah, I don't even know. I'm trying to remember too, when I was at the Casa the very first time, and you were still doing the currents.
mm,
There was this man that I noticed, and he was walking around. He looked a little bit different, barefoot, and I knew I recognized him. And he just had this different energy about him. And as I was closing my eyes to sit, I think it was in the second room, I noticed that he came and sat down at the same bench next to me. And when I opened my eyes at the end of current, he was gone. And I asked you, like, who was it? Who sat down next to me? And you're like, no, nobody sat down
mm.
next to you. Like
I
nobody got up and
know.
nobody left. And
Remember
then,
that.
yeah. And then I looked at a picture and it was Dr. Osvaldo Cruz, like an older
Exactly.
version of him. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
And
and
that
it was like,
is true.
yeah, he was,
They manifest. It depends.
mhm.
Because when you're doing your 50% or 60% or whatever, you're bringing it to the table and you're saying, help me. And they see every effort and they have manifested physically many
Mhm.
times. I have experienced that myself, but I know that you had such a great faith and rapport. You were ready so many times. Saint Rita was with you so many times. Um, I felt very strong presences with you because you needed them. Not only that, but your faith was healing you because you were like, "I'm ready." You were opening your heart. It wasn't easy. There was some stuff that you really were processing, deep, traumatic
Mhm.
childhood stuff that doesn't happen to regular people. I mean, you were so hurt in your childhood, and now look
Mhm.
at you. You were really um, worked on to the point of transmuting the energy, and yet you were ready because you kept asking, ask and you'll
Yeah.
receive. And you were bringing a lot to the table, because your faith um, I remember was it you who had the picture in San Rafael where the light was coming right? The sunset came beaming
Oh yeah,
in.
yeah. And it was a video and picture.
It
And
was moving
yeah.
light, like a light force,
Yeah.
like star seed. I mean, I could not, I have
I'll
it
have to
somewhere.
share that again. Yeah, I'm happy to
Yeah,
post it again, but like because I had
it
turned the
was
phone
extraordinary. It was moving light.
completely.
It was moving and
Yeah.
it was godlike. It was
Because
not. It
I
was
was like,
sun, but
yeah.
God, it was God. I will never forget that picture because I had seen so many pictures of orbs and so many pictures in the casa of interesting activity. That one
Hmm.
picture really stood out because it was a moving God consciousness. And
Hmm.
um, I'll see if I can find it on my 9,000 pictures. But anyway, I remember when you said, check this out, and I was blown away. And I remember going down to you because I said, I really want to see this full in my face. And it was huge. It was something, and that was in 2019. Y-
Yeah,
no,
yeah.
So that was when, the casa was getting quieter and that sun was coming in as a God beam of light. I never saw, and I saw in 22 years, I saw a lot of sunrises and a lot of sunsets, but I never saw
Mhm.
anything like that. So it was revealed to you, and then you passed it on to us to show us that they are
Okay.
working on us everywhere, every time. And
Hmm.
I'm here now in Ireland picking up feathers left, right, and centre. I mean, I was having a conversation with somebody today. I said, "Excuse me," and I picked up a feather, and this girl said to me, "What are you doing?" And I said, "Do you not know you have a guardian angel and the angelic realms? Archangel. I didn't get into it, but Archangel Michael's like slaying the dragons, and there's a big battle going on, and I mean, we might lose a few battles. We're going to win the war, but I didn't want
Hmm.
to get into that, whole other dimensional stuff
Yeah.
with people who are not ready. They walk away backwards and then they go home and it's a small town and they say
Hmm.
Grainne Mc Entee is batshit, crazy. But that was happening a lot in Abadiania. I mean, literally the entities, the veil was much thinner. And now I see it in the world. I see it with the moon the other night that the veil is thinner and it's tangibly thinner, and I'm really feeling it. And I think um, it's because of we have been prepared for this, and there's
Yeah.
big stuff coming down the line. I mean, the solar flares are igniting. We were talking before; they're igniting the crystal beds, so the crystal beds are
Mhm.
rocking. I mean, they are blasting people. So we have to be very careful how we help people through the casa crystals and through the beds and through anything casa. I mean, this house here has 10 triangles in it and nobody is coming. I mean, people walk in here and they are like, this house is so peaceful and and I have
Yeah.
a huge triangle here behind me. I mean, I have nothing but empty pictures everywhere. And they're like,
Oh
who's
yeah.
that good looking chick? And who's that nun?
Mhm.
They think a nun that I'm religious, but I'm more spiritual. So
Mhm.
they are around us all the time. And you know that. I mean, when you were staying in San Rafael, and that really was a God moment. I mean, I was
Mhm.
blown away. But you deserved all that, and you received so much, even through Dean. When Dean said he had sick and stuff because he was your partner in crime. Your
Mhm.
beautiful dog. They helped you through that grief too.
They did. I would not be able to, yeah, and they acted through someone who was kind of at the time when I ended up having to put him down, was texting me, going over the life review, and I wouldn't have been able to make it through it. I mean, he's just, you know, like one of your own children. Yeah,
Yeah.
he went all over the world with me, and there were different experiences that he provided for people that they wouldn't have otherwise been able to experience in Brazil. I know there was one lady who came from a different country, petrified, petrified, completely petrified of Dean. Like she would see him and she would like cross the street or like run back to her house, and eventually she got more and more comfortable. I mean, but that was a challenge for her. But I mean, rightly so. I mean, he's a huge Rottweiler. I mean, they are supposed to be not friendly, but he was. And I just remember, people coming up and taking pictures with him and of him. He was like the little town celebrity, you
Really,
know?
and you could see it in his eyes. You could feel it in his energy field. He was working with the entities, and he was a great comfort. He was a gentle giant, and I loved him because I used to have a fear of dogs
Yeah.
and cattle was just kind of weird. Well, when we were growing up, we didn't we had Maloney's dog. We didn't have our own dog because this smelly
Mhm.
dog used to come into the house. And then sometimes the street dogs would kind of snap at you and stuff. But
Right.
Dean was out there. He wasn't your average dog. And I know that the entities worked through him because you could just see him actually reacting to people who are sicker than we would have imagined because a lot of illnesses were not manifesting on the outside and people were struggling. They weren't in Abadiania on holidays. Uh,
Hmm.
Even though some people said, I'm just here. Like I said, I'm here for my sister. And then, of
Hmm.
course, I ended up staying there and she ended up going back to Ireland and subsequently passing away. So, Dean was there, brought by the entities to help to heal our brothers
Yeah.
and sisters who were there. Even by just sitting in the cafe or wherever he was sitting, at Fruities or whatever, just his
Hmm.
presence was beaming out this, and I do believe when we get to heaven, there's going to right this dog and God, they have the same letters. I do believe that
Oh
there's going
yeah,
to, our animals are going to be there and we're going to be reunited, and that's an exciting prospect, and it helps.
it
And
does.
I feel now, and we talked about it before, that it's so much harder in Abidjan now because there's less people and the girls are doing an amazing job. And I would like to give a shout out to Vivian Meta and um,
Yes.
uh, Ivani because they are against all the odds. They are adopting dogs, looking after, feeding animals, bringing them for castrations, bringing them to the vet with very little resources. And
Yeah.
they're doing the work of the entities. I mean, St. Francis of Assisi and all of the entities who are helping. And they are just so amazing. I mean, again, because the Casa is a healing center, it's for everyone. It's not just for humans.
Yeah.
So we
Yeah.
really are helping animals, creatures, birds. I remember a bird flew into the cafe, a pigeon or something, and it had a broken wing, and a louse had brought it home because a louse is a very powerful healer. Even though she never, ever, her ego is so, she doesn't really have one, but she just
Yeah.
said nothing, brought the pigeon home, and I asked her about it a couple of days later, and she said, "Oh no, I healed a broken leg with a splint." And there was some little something wrong with the wing, and then it recuperated after a few days and flew away. So Anne came back to her to thank her. So they are
Aw.
sentient beings.
Yes.
And then I used to bring pictures of dolphins and to the entity because people said, "Oh, what are you doing?" And I said, "They're all God's creatures, that were struggling and that were caught in nets in Japan in the fishing nets and stuff, and very harrowing stuff." And the entity always smiled and said, "We will go there and we will help." So it didn't matter. Humans were mostly looked after, but we were looking after everyone, dogs. And I went to the Amazon last year and I
Yeah.
came back to the Casa and I sat in the current and I prayed very hard. And I understand this year, I mean, there was nothing but the smell of smoke, which was extraordinary. And we kept having to hit sandbanks, and a lot of fish were dying, and it was very traumatic because you don't see it on the TV because they just don't. Anyway,
I know.
I understand this year that there is more water. I mean, not because I personally prayed, but I know that the Brazilians are really, they have great faith, a lot of them. And uh, there's a little bit more water in the Amazon River now, the biggest river in South America, and Rio Negro, which is the Black River that goes into it. So it is prayer works, no matter
It
what.
does.
Prayer works.
And I never would have believed that. I mean, when people used to say, hopes and prayers, I'll pray for you, I was like, oh my God, like whatever. Like,
Yeah,
but
I
after
know.
going to the Casa, I mean, I've felt it, I've experienced it. And the interesting thing, I guess I want to say too, is after my first visit there, for the first 2 weeks, and then I was like praying, but I was like praying out loud. I was able to feel the vibration of the prayer I was saying and how it changed the energy in the room and within myself. And I'm not saying that this is something that's easy to do or you're always going to experience it. And, but if you're open to it, you know, it'll happen.
Yeah,
So,
I
yeah,
mean, it does
it's
actually, it
works.
changes the air in the room, and it goes out into the universe. And when I'm lighting candles here in Ireland, I always say the names out loud,
Hmm.
because I feel that puts an extra, you know, push on the prayer. Um, and yet again, some people who are very seriously ill and are probably, in fact, leaving the planet, they seem to be getting a lot of comfort from just me lighting candles and saying their
Yeah.
names. And I'm not doing it solely. There's a lot of prayer warriors out there, and
Hmm.
for me, it's the best solution because it's what I can do when people are too weak to be visited or they don't want to have somebody come up and ask them all sorts of questions if they have an illness that they just are in pain or whatever. So you can be on the outside of, the arena and really send the love through. God hears every single prayer. You
Yeah.
know, I just, it's amazing how powerful. I only learned that at the Casa. I mean, I used to be eye rolling at my mother. Um, thank God she never had us on our knees saying the rosary here, although a lot of Irish people had to do it on cold floors. And I'd be like,
Mm.
God. And then, we didn't have to go to mass until we were 18, and then we were on our own, and my mother was shaking her head, going, "You're heathens, you're nothing like cattle in the field if you don't go to mass." And occasionally here, I mean, I've been at a lot of funerals. A lot of people are getting off the planet. And I'm sure it's all over the world, but here in Ireland, and then after 9/11 yesterday, I lit a special candle for all the transmutation of all that
Yeah.
energy. Even the hijackers, we have to actually send it out there for every soul. We
Mm.
don't discriminate. And then people are feeling it. They're like, oh, so and so is not in as much pain as they were. So that's because there's a collective consciousness praying for them. Um,
Right.
and I believe that it does actually make people more comfortable in their illness. And then death is the cure. I mean, I know people used to say to me, "What do you mean somebody died out there? Is this guy not any good?" And I said, "Well, death is part of life. And um, to prepare ourselves for leaving our bodies if we're lucky enough. Although I don't want to be dead. I actually want to be dead when I hit the ground because I want it really quick. But that's what I want
Yeah.
and what God's plan for me is are two different things. But certainly, like Padre Pio we were talking about, he suffered every single night. He was being thrown around the room and he was battling for us the dark night of the soul. And he was bruised from head to toe. I mean, that stigmata was real. The church was like, he's putting acid on his hands, and I'm like, why would anybody put acid on their hands? Just
Oh.
so it's about believing in something bigger than us that's supernatural, and that's what the casa is about. It's a
Mhm.
supernatural phenomena that is all around us, and because it's very high above sea level and it's on a crystal plateau, it just seems to be the veil right now. You can just touch the other side. I mean, they reveal so much to us now. They lift the veil every so often, and you're like, oh my God, even in the current with your eyes closed, because then your third eye is activated. They
Yeah.
reveal beautiful things that I have no fear about the future because I know things are in divine order. And
Hmm.
there's a lot of noise in the world and a lot of chaos and a lot of fear. But I know everything's going to be fine. I mean, looking at that moon the other night, I was like, thank you,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
because I know that these cosmic events that are happening in September as well. And in Abadiania, there's less light pollution. There's a little light, some light pollution here. But you can see those stars at nighttime. My God, there's something big going on.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, the sunsets and the stars, like the sky in Abidjan is like no other place on the
You know,
planet.
no.
Yeah.
And then the tools in the casa. Like you were always drinking water. I mean, I don't know how much you drank every day, but every time I saw you, you were chucking back the water, which reminds me, it's
Hmm.
a huge vibration. I brought
It
back some,
is.
and you can keep it going. You know, you just
Hmm.
add to it, and it'll
Yep.
keep vibrating. Friend of ours, Sean Durkin, who passed away, he
Yeah.
had it was 15 years. He had the same bottle of water, and he brought it back to the entity, and the entity said that water is vibrating at the same level it was when you left here 15 years ago,
Wow. Wow.
because he
Yeah.
kept it going in Rio de Janeiro when he lived
Hmm.
there. And then all the tools like the rosaries and stuff that we would never wear when I was a kid. I wouldn't go near a rosary bead as a teenager.
No.
But you know, they're so beautiful and they're so protective. So we learned all that at the casa, you know.
Yes. Yeah.
And
And I mean, the necklaces, the jewelry, I mean, if I'm always loaded up in it, but if I have to take it off, I can feel an immediate difference, and something missing, from me and my energy. So yeah, it's huge. Yeah.
and
Yeah.
crystals, did you
Oh
bring
yeah.
something with you?
Oh yeah, I've got tons of crystals. I bought the female and female crystals for myself. I have triangles. I've got some pictures of the entities. I need to get some more water. And I just ran out of herbs recently. So, but yeah, I figure out a way to get that. And
Oh yeah,
yeah.
we'll figure that out. I have an in on that. There's a beautiful daughter of the casa going down, Jane Doyle, who you may have met,
Oh yeah.
of
Yeah.
course. Love her.
She's amazing.
And it's like we've known each other. I mean, like you, for lifetimes. It never
Mhm.
changes. It's like I was talking to you yesterday in the casa. You
I
know,
know. Yeah.
it's like we just pick up where we left off. So
Yeah.
I'll talk to you about that again. And she's prepared to bring back a lorry load of herbs to America and send them. I don't know if you can send water across state lines, but I certainly will get her to send you herbs. And I need stuff sent here to Ireland, and we're going to work it out with her. So that will be done. And every piece of the casa that I have, I still have rose petals from Dom
Yeah.
Ignacio Day. They're all vibrating at the same
Hmm.
level they were the day they like. It's amazing. I mean, they may look wilted and stuff, but the vibration of them is extraordinary. And
Yeah.
I have pictures of all the entities, and I have stuff that they gave us on Dom Ignacio Day as gifts, and I have all of them around me. I have left some in Brazil. I'll be going back over there to get them, probably at Christmas
Yeah.
time when it gets really cold here. I'm missing the weather already. Um, but
Mhm.
just you, when you were there, you always topped up on everything before you left because you had faith. You knew that everything was vibrating on such a high level.
Yeah, and
And
I just, needed to have that around me for comfort and, it's just like, thank God I was able to bring a crystal bed back to the US with me because I was like, I did not know how I would survive, like, in my mind at the time, being separated from that energy. But now I know, and through working and feeling, it doesn't matter necessarily where you are. Does it help? Does it, if you're when you're absolutely, but they will come to you where you're at and you can connect with them anywhere in the world. Yeah, you just have to try for
yeah, well,
sure.
the casa is within us. I mean, the divine spark has been ignited with all the sons and daughters of the casa. So we are connected by this common thread of God consciousness that will never leave us for lifetimes. I mean, I just wanted to go back to a planet with chocolate, but I mean, it has to have chocolate. But
Yep.
then we are all connected through the portal of the casa. We were meant to meet there, and I always felt it was like a reunion
Hmm.
because we had so much in common to start with, even though we didn't know each other.
Right.
Uh, nobody was a stranger. But I always felt some people I really resonated with. You, I really resonated with. And we met thousands of people there over the years. And I resonated with everybody, but I felt more tuned to you and Jane, and a list,
Yeah.
endless lists of people who I feel that we had shared a lot in the past, and that we all worked with Dom Ignacio's army, because I certainly know how to use a knife, not only in a kitchen, but I have
Mhm.
flashbacks of battlefields, and I have the ring that Dom Ignacio rubbed that time when he stopped the lines. It's the Black Madonna of Brazil, Nossa Senhora Aparecida, and he was
Oh,
rubbing the ring like the genie. And I didn't know it was Dom Ignacio, but I kept having flashbacks of the battlefield. And then I was so taken back that he told everybody in the current to open their eyes while he was talking to me and rubbing this ring. And he was so gentle and gorgeous. And I didn't have time to think. And I thought, oh my God, I'm going to be publicly shamed or stoned. Open your eyes. And he really, then he just, he had talked to for 15 minutes about, it was insane, because I was just bringing up pictures, but he was going, no, no, we're not doing that today. We're going to do you. And I was like, oh God, he's going to come out with something like, because the entities know where you've been, and they've, Dr. Gusto said to me once something personal, and I said, how did you know? And he said, because I was there, and it was in Ireland. And I was like, oh God, they were everywhere. But Dom Ignacio said to me, he said we had been together very many lifetimes, and that's when I got the battlefield. And then he told me, I mean, I'll just give you the guts of it, but it went on for 15 minutes because Melinda was waiting for the line to come outside, and she didn't know it was me. And she said, some gringo, some foreigner held up the line for 15 minutes, and we were all waiting for people to come out. And it was Dom Ignacio, and he was talking forever to this girl. And I said, Melinda, that was me. I never got special treatment. It was just next, next, next. And he said
Mhm.
something that really struck me, because he said to me, not only are you doing the work of your family here in Abadiania, we are working through you to your family,
Yeah.
your extended family. He said, we're working with your ancestors,
Hmm.
so the ancestral work has been done, through the lineage right back. And this is 2025. Now is the time, you know. And
Yeah.
I was thinking in my head, oh my God, that sounds like such a heavy workload. And he read my mind and he said, we are helping you do this. You just have to show up, like
Yeah.
literally pray, sort of show up, believe, live by faith and not by sight, put one step in front of the other and trust us.
Yeah.
It's tall order when you're there freaking out thinking, but it is interesting that we worked with people who had lived before on the planet. You can't say that to
Yeah.
many people out there.
Yeah.
He lived in the 1500s, and we're working with these people, and their language was different. So that's how
Hmm.
you knew Dom Ignacio, and also by his limping, his leg. But we were working with the spirit doctors that were more recent, and also so many entities. I mean, from all backgrounds, they weren't all Christians. I mean, there
Oh,
was the Oriental ones when the Oriental music came on, and the transmutation of that energy, and the crystals were pumping out the energy, and they were antennas, and they were pulling all the miasmas, or the darker energy, off people
yeah.
in the current and transmuting it. I mean, there was so much going on, and yet we didn't need to know everything. Like, people would go up and ask questions like, here's two houses, which one will I live in? And he's like, oh my God, you know, like people did. He did say one time to somebody who was buying an apartment in Manhattan on the ground level, or a basement apartment, and he said, my advice is not to make this purchase. And all he said was, the water is coming. So, Manhattan is an island. and
Hmm.
sea levels are rising. So if people are logical, they're putting two and two together
Right.
then, because I see a lot of erosion in Ireland and I see a lot of water coming up. But I
Yeah.
think I will disappear for a while. I hope not before you get here. And you need to come over here. You'd love the horses here. I
Oh my
have
gosh. Yes. Yes. That's
Connemara
on my list.
ponies. My one of my relations breeds Connemara ponies, and I think of you
Oh
when
my
I see.
goodness. I
I
love
mean, they're
that breed.
really amazing. Yeah,
Yeah.
and one of them was born with his legs down, one foal, and
Mm.
they're trying. We're trying to get. I'm trying. I'm praying a lot that that foal. I mean, because it's not the legs are bent in two. You know about that. But prayer will help. And I said,
Yeah.
look, I'll just keep praying for a miracle. You never know. It could
Yeah.
happen overnight,
Then there's different farrier and medical work that they can do to sort that out. It's unfortunate that, they kind of that happens with different deformities, but they can come around, and whether or not they go on to having, a competitive or riding career, well, I mean, I wouldn't count that out because look at my horses. You know what I've been through with both of them. The one horse that I had purchased sight unseen when I was in Brazil, because his registered name was God's Promise. So I was like, of course I have to get this horse. He had got off the trailer and my friend, you know, got him in, took off his halter, and she noticed this huge lump behind his right ear that wasn't disclosed to me. So I said, well, whatever it is, we'll have it biopsied and taken care of, you know, and it came back this very rare, aggressive cancer that usually only dogs get. And I was like, oh my God. So now we got to go and have surgery. They were able to get it. I'll have to send you a picture because it was pretty big. It was the size of a walnut, I want to say. And they got it removed with clean margins. And this was back in 2021, and it's never came back since. And that was something again that I had prayed to the entities about. And most recently, because he had with that some hind end lameness, and I was like, where is this coming from? Like kind of knew what was going on, but I asked to be shown, and then it had kind of came to me what was actually happening with some negative plantar pain on the back of his heels that's just throwing off the rest of his body. And so I looked it up and I got the correct shoes for it and um, hind shoes, therapeutic shoes. And the last time that he was shot, I actually have to go to the farrier soon here again because he lost the shoe. But it was the first time that he was able to stand and not be drugged because he was so comfortable and his back was releasing. And because I don't have money for whatever fun reason, I was praying that, help me to figure out what's going on with my horse and to be able to take care of the veterinary care. Like, I can't do this. Like, this is dumb. Like, my horse doesn't need to suffer. You know, I realize that animals in our life are extensions of us, but it's not fair for him to do that. Whatever lesson needs to be learned, let's do it, through me.
Exactly.
And he then I had made connections with this woman who's a veterinarian, and she is learning new techniques and things like that, and she's willing to help him just for the practice. So I mean, these
Brilliant.
injections, things like that are insane. You could easily spend a good 5, 6, 7,000 and not have it even be any kind of effective at all.
Wow.
But she's gonna help me and she'll be getting experience out of it. My horse will be getting, healed up, and yeah, the same thing with my other horse, with the whole back and bucking issue. He's still a little bit there, but I know what's going on. But it just, it sucked, you know what,
Yeah, that's life. And then you have trust in the entities that are there helping in the background. And sometimes their work is so in your face, it's definitely them. But then it's
Mhm.
the little things that really are, the entities working as well. We think we expect huge miracles or whatever, but it's a
Yeah.
small, gradual process of patiently working with them that is really important because the entities are there at every step of the journey, you know.
Oh yeah.
And
Yeah.
and that has been my experience talking to you about horses over these last few years since we've met, that the
Mhm.
entities have always showed up for you in very interesting ways, you know, and you know they're
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
So you trust that. And okay, sometimes things go a little bit crazy and you're like, what? You know, but at the same
Yeah.
time, it has to be, you have to surrender, you know, if
Yeah.
some, you know, you can't save everyone. And also, it's just having that blind faith, which we walk by every day. I never thought that I would be here after, I'd be alive after 60. I mean, I was like, oh my God, I'd be dead by 40 at the rate I was partying. But also, I never thought I would be praying and
Yeah.
making a difference, that prayers actually work. In my 60s, I would just laughed it off and said, "You are nuts. There's no way I would pray. I mean, I'm not that type
Right.
of." So
No, this is
I got my miracle in Abadiania because they saved my life, and I think I was 40 or 40 years old when I went there, and um, I they saved me every single
yes.
time. They saved me. And I have written diaries, like I was saying, and I will write my sister's story. It started already, but it, it's for those who are not light-hearted. It's not for the faint-hearted because
No, it's not
um,
easy.
and
Um,
a lot of people will say this girl is making this stuff up because so many miraculous things happened in our time there and then afterwards since,
right.
that people are not, for those with ears to hear. I mean, I'm not out to brainwash people because I know
No.
what's going on, and I see it all the time. I'm so grateful for us being able to talk about it and
Oh my
also
God, yeah.
not be censored, and also prayer, faith moves mountains, and
It
that's what
does.
we're doing. We're shifting mountains, you know.
And I mean, it's not like, I'm just saying this is what what I have experienced. This is what is out there. This, is available to you if you so wish. Like, there's no like magic trick to it. Like, you don't have to, do any like cult like things, whatever, but why not? Like, what's the harm in going to Brazil or praying or asking for help or, what's the downside? Like, why not? And
Yeah,
that's kind of that's how I was too, after Medium Joao had, kind of went away. And um, I, that was very devastating for me because it was like, I didn't know if what I had experienced was real. Um, and that connection and everything like that was all that I had really to keep going in my life, the connection that I had made with God and spirit and things like that. And for whatever reason, I just stuck with it and I came and went down
mm,
to Brazil and met you. And I was shown things beyond and, belief, and felt the true presence and energies there that were just undeniable. Um, and there's no pecking order. There's no, oh, because this person received a miracle, you don't get, there's no limit. And that was the thing that really helped me with, talking with you was, ask for it all, ask for everything, ask for everything you need in any area of your life.
why
There's,
not?
yeah. So it's, you know, that's exactly what I would say is just, why not? I mean,
Yeah, and it's win-win, you know, just by putting yourself out there. I mean, you're not losing anything, you know. It's just
no.
And what happens is miracles. I mean, I have experienced so many miracles, and not like huge, thundering miracles. It's the small miracles, and the raising of the awareness, and my energy field is much vibrating on a much higher level
Yeah.
now, um, since the medium has left, because there's more entities to go around, less people, and higher. You can feel the energy more because there's less noise and chaos. So in the
Yeah.
silence, it's beautiful, So yeah, anybody who can get down there, or even get on a crystal bed, or get some
Yeah.
herbs. I think Jane's going to put it out there on Abadiania Connections, and she is prepared to bring people back herbs for sure. And we'll talk about that again. But we're going to wind up soon because we're nearly at the time. Oh my God, I can't believe that time went so fast. But it is
Yeah.
just a beautiful connection that will never leave us. You are my sister and my family. And
Yes.
it's the same like we were having, acai in fruities
Yeah.
yesterday.
Yep.
It's just the same. I mean, okay, my hair might be a bit longer. Yours is gorgeous. It's flowing locks. But yeah, it's like time stood still, and we'll always have that connection.
Yeah.
And we will get to meet each other in Brazil again because it's part in our
Absolutely.
DNA. It's our home, our spiritual home. And I love it.
Yes.
And the weather's much better than it is here. And
Absolutely.
so thank you for talking to us and just for being you, because you
Yeah.
had to go through a lot, and you opened up a lot about your life and your issues that were, a lot of them, I don't know how you got through them, insurmountable for a lot of people, but you nailed them. You literally went for it because you went through a lot of stuff that a lot of people will never have to face. And it wasn't easy. And I remember that your tenacity and your faith and your strength, and that inspired me. And
Oh, thank
I
you.
want people to know that we all are here for each other. We're here for
Yes.
each other. And that's without a doubt, and the Casa still has, actually, it's higher now. I mean, I can't even explain what's going on there, but it's in us. And when we are here in Ireland or America or Australia, wherever we are, we're accessing that energy when we when we want to plug in. So it's there. Hope, hope,
It
hope.
is.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, thank you so
Yeah.
much. Yeah.
Thank
I'm so
you. And
Yeah.
yeah, and we'll be in touch for sure. And big hugs and love always. And
Yeah.
yeah, we'll definitely be in touch. And I'll get on to you about the herbs personally. So we work on that.
Okay. Yeah, no, that sounds good. It was so good talking to you. Love you, miss you, wishing for the
Yeah.
best. So, yeah.
Thank you, Liz.
Hmm.